Hello and welcome to today's Buddhist prayer led by Bhikkhu Sāgarānanda Tien, part of the 2020 National Faith HIV/AIDS Awareness Day observances that began last Thursday and wrap up today. My name is Reverend Mike Schedemeyer. I'm with the United Church of Christ and the Planning Committee for the National Faith HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, and we want to welcome you to today's prayer. Before I introduce our leader for today's prayer, I have just a few announcements. First of all, I'd like to remind you about later today, we have an event entitled Get Out and Vote. It's a town hall about HIV and COVID being on the ballot. It will be live streamed from the Facebook page, Faith AIDS Day, like we are live streaming today, and hope that you'll join us for that. Later this month, or later in September, I should say, September 22, 23, and 24, is Resilience and Renewal, Faith in the HIV Response. This is an international interfaith HIV conference. Hope you'll join us. You'll see the registration information at the innovatehealthplatform.org, and you'll find the event there where you can register and learn more. Also want to alert you to the end of the month, and Wednesday, September the 30th at 1 p.m. for HIV in the Latinx community. It's part of our HIV and Faith and Resilience and Renewal series, Conversations on the Legacy and Future of the U.S. Faith Response to HIV and AIDS. It is a great pleasure to welcome you again to today's prayer. I want to introduce the Venerable Sāgarānanda, I'll say that again, Sāgarānanda Tien, who is a Buddhist monk that was born and raised in Taiwan. He came to the US for graduate studies in engineering, where he earned his master's and PhD degrees. He is a resident monk and the secretary of the US Zen Institute in Germantown, Maryland, a Buddhist organization promoting Buddhist teachings and meditative praxis. He considers himself as a student of religion, literature, philosophy, art, and science. Bhikkhu Sāgarānanda, we are so pleased to welcome you and thank you for leading us in today's prayer.
Thank you, Reverend Michael, and it's my pleasure. So I have prepared some material, so I have to follow this. Excuse me, let me bring it up. Okay. And first of foremost, I would like to express my most sincere gratitude to the founder of RATMA and the soul and mind behind the National Faith HIV and AIDS Awareness Day, Mrs. Khadija, for inviting me over to lead the Buddhist prayer, as well as a minister and team leader of UCAN, United Church of Christ, Reverend Michael, and all the working committee members who organized this year's National Faith and HIV and AIDS Awareness Day. Again, my name is Bhikkhu Sāgarānanda, the Secretary of US Zen Institute, a Buddhist organization in Germantown, Maryland. The US Zen Institute was founded by a group of Taiwanese Buddhists in the late 80s as a non-sectarian Buddhist organization promoting meditation practice, religious education, and inter-religious dialogues. The current abbot of US Zen Institute, Venerable Dr. Dhammadipā Sek, who just finished his visiting professorship at the University of Chicago Divinity School before he went on to a trip to Asia, and currently he got stuck in Taiwan due to this travel restriction of COVID-19. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us today. However, what we have all experienced from the COVID-19 pandemic has parallels with AIDS crisis. The uncertainty, the stigma, the racism, and the class aspects of both of these pandemics across the globe. Thus, this year's Awareness Day gives us another rare opportunity to reflect on the nature of our well-being. Here, I would like to quote some popular verses from the Buddhist canon, Dhammapada, or to be loosely translated as the Buddha's path of wisdom, and use it to carry my reflection. And now you can see the verses on the screen, and the verses are recorded in Pali And I have included my English translation below under each verse. And the language Pali is a Middle Indo-European language spoken by the Buddha. Here are how they read. Susukang wata jiwama, very nesu, are very no. Very nesu, manu ne sesu, viharama, are very no. Which means happily indeed we live. Among those who bear hostility, the non-hostile ones are. Among the people who bear hatred, we, the people, dwell without hate. And the next verse reads, Susukang wata jiwama, aturesu anatura, aturesu manusesu, viharama anutura. And the English translation is, happily indeed we live. Among those who contract diseases, the healthy ones are. Among the people who fall ill, we the people live in good health. And the last verse is, Susukang wata jiwama, usukesu anusukha, usukesu manusesu, viharama anusukha. Happily indeed we live. Among those who indulge in sensual pleasures, the non-averse are. Among the people who become greedy, we, the people, live generously. These verses are related to the story about the Buddha resolved the problems of his two groups of relatives fighting for resources on either side of a river. To me, this story mirrors the current situation of our own brothers and sisters of this great country of the United States, who are fighting with each other on various battlefronts for their physical, political, and psychological well-being. So here's the story, which takes place in the land of the Buddha in nowadays Nepal and northern India, with reference to his relatives who were quarreling over the use of the water from the Rohini River, which now still flows. The Buddha's patriarchal clan, the Sakyans, living in the town of Kapilavatthu, and the Buddha's matriarchal clan, the Kolyans, occupying the town of Kolya, were situated on both sides of the river. The farmers of both towns irrigated their fields by drawing water from the Rohini River from time to time when there is not enough water, the rainwater falling on their fields. One year, a severe drought hit the region. The farmers on both sides did not have enough rainwater for their paddy. Finding that their paddy fields was going to wilt, the cultivators from both sides wanted to divert the water from the river to their own fields. Those living in Kolya, the Buddha's motherland, said that there was not enough water in the river for both sides, and that if only they could channel the water to their fields, that would be enough for the paddy to mature and ripen. On the other hand, people from Kapilavatthu, the Buddha's fatherland, argued that in that case, they will be denied the use of water, and their crops will surely fail, and their livelihood will be doomed. And they will be compelled to buy from other people. They say that they were not prepared to carry their money and valuables to the opposite bank of the river just to exchange for the food. Both sides wanted the water for their own use only, and there was much ill will between them due to abusive language and accusation on both sides. The quarrel that started between the farmers came to the ears of the minister concerned, and they reported the matter to their respective rulers, and both sides are now prepared to go to war. In accordance with the Buddhist scriptures, this conflict was eventually resolved peacefully by the Buddha's intervention. Just before the two parties are going to start their military move, the Buddha, surveying the world with his psychic powers, saw his relatives on both sides of the river at the verge of starting a bloodshed. So he decided to stop them. All along, he went to them by flying through the sky and stopped immediately above the middle of the river. His relatives, seeing him powerfully and yet peacefully sitting above them in the sky, laid down all their weapons and paid obedience to the Buddha. The three verses that I just recited are what the Buddha recited when the settlement had been reached at the end. Again, let me read the verses once again, this time only in English. Happily indeed we live among those who bear hostility, the non-hostile ones are. Among the people who bear hatred, we, the people, dwell without hate. Happily indeed we live among those who contract diseases, the healthy ones are. Among the people who fall ill, we, the people, live in good health. Happily indeed we live among those who indulge in sensual pleasures, the non-averse are. Among the people who become greedy, we, the people, live generously. Here, my understanding of the above verses about hostility versus nonviolence, illness versus well-being, and avarice versus generosity carry a meaning far beyond our physical and verbal actions, such that nonviolence is just a lack of violent acts. Well-being is just possessing a healthy body, and generosity is merely a lavish financial contribution to the disadvantages and the poor. I believe the Buddha was addressing a much deeper issue which originates in our own mind. It is the very human experience that we all encountered in our daily lives. The rising and ceasing of our anxiety, of our feelings of anger, of our fear, of our despair, and our grief, etc. This unwholesome mental quality show up in our mind, especially during the time of pandemic. Yet, how we train our mind in such a way that we can cope with these unwholesome conditions. Among Buddhist strategies, which aim at cultivating positive qualities, is the meditation on compassion for the purpose of diverting the mind from hate. The practice of compassion meditation sometimes could be very complicated. Due to the constraint of time today, let me provide you the basic instruction of compassion meditation so that we all can have a taste of this beautiful mental quality of mind. Also, you can bring, quote unquote, this compassion meditation home, or the spirit of the compassion meditation home, to practice by yourself towards your families, your friends, someone you love and care. So let's start the meditation sessions. And first of all, it doesn't really matter whether you sit on the floor or on a cushion or on a chair or even laying on your bed. As long as you can find a relaxed and comfortable posture where you can calm your mind down and without falling to sleep. That's the most important things. Okay, so I'll assume that you have found a relaxed position, And next step is when you hear me striking the bell, you might as well close your eyes and I will guide you through the meditation. So, may you be free from suffering is the language that we'll be using in order to bring up the mind of compassion when we meditate on someone who is in distress. Now, let us visualize someone who you know and care for, and just put his or her image right in front of your face. So this first we'll go through several of these persons. And the first is who is a HIV positive. And by visualizing this person right in front of your face, and silently we remind ourselves by giving rise of this mind of compassion using the language. Wish him or her free from suffering. We can say, may you be free from suffering. May you be free from suffering. Silently. And now let us visualize someone who you know and care for, who is a COVID patient, or your friend, whether your friend or someone you know who just got COVID, and you put this person's image right in front of you and wish her or him to be free from suffering. So now let us move on to visualize someone who you know and care for, who is a relative or friend of the people who fall ill. Again, put this person's image right in front of your face. And deep inside our mind, we wish this person to be free from suffering. And now, let us move on to visualize someone who you know and care for, who is a medical personnel, maybe a doctor or nurse or home care provider. Again, put this person's image right in front of your face. Wish this person to be free from suffering. And now let us visualize someone who you know and care for, who is just someone popping up in your mind at this moment, who has suffered from the physical, mental, or even financial hardship due to the disease, whether it's HIV/AIDS, COVID, or any other kind of diseases. Again, we put this person that we care for and wish this person to be free from suffering, any kind of suffering. And most importantly, we need to recognize the problems of our American civil society, regardless our race, politics, economic status. Let us visualize all those people of our own larger civil society with compassion and justice. It's almost like you put all those people in front of your face and simultaneously wish them to be free from the suffering that they have suffered. When you hear me striking the bell twice, that signals the end of our sections. Before the end of this prayer, following the practice of Buddhist tradition, I would like to share the spiritual merits that we together generated through this prayer to my fellow citizens who have suffered from HIV, AIDS, and COVID 19 in the States as well as in all other countries in the world. Moreover, I would like to ask all of you to keep supporting the efforts led by Khadijah and her colleagues to fight the disease, whether it's a physical disease or mental disease, in the years to come. Last but not least, I wish you all healthy minds and bodies in your daily lives and work. Thank you very much.